Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Thunderdome Investing, where our goal is to return 100% every year, and we are 15% of the way there. I'm your analyst, David Gibson, and I'm going to be walking through our channel's brand new Fidelity Investments portfolio, where I'm going to be focusing on our three current stocks, which are Analyst Life Sciences, unveils Biotherapeutics, and I've only got two stocks, so maybe now is a good time to introduce you guys to our new third stock, right? I ended last episode with a teaser, and maybe some of you got it, maybe some of you didn't, but the answer to the riddle was a candle. That's why I'm super excited to introduce the newest stock to the channel, Candel Therapeutics. But before I dive into the ins and outs of Candel, let me set the stage for today's video. This episode is going to be our first installment of the weekly showdowns. So for the purpose of these weekly showdowns, I have created a brand new Fidelity Investments account and loaded $1,000 into it. I'm going to be doing updates weekly on this account just so you guys can see how these stocks are behaving on a week-to-week basis based on trends, news, etc. I believe this can be helpful to you guys so you can see just how possible returning 100% a year is. So let's dive into how I split the money up. I put half of our budget, which is $500, into our Mad Max of the channel, Analyst. I then put $250 into unveils and $250 into Candel. Also, just to cap off the Replimune trade that I mentioned in the last episode, I bought $500 worth of shares in Replimune at $11.26, and I sold all 44 of my shares at $12.20, which made me a net of $42.43, which I will be reinvesting into our other three stocks at the end of this video. But with all of that setup out of the way, let's start talking numbers. First up on the block is Analyst. On July 9th, I bought $500 worth of Analyst, which worked out to roughly 47 shares at $10.58 a share. At the time of recording, on the close of July 17th, Analyst is sitting at $11.06 per share, netting us a return of 4.5% or $22.68 over the last week. It had a strong run into the 11:30 range late in the afternoon, but it came back down to earth at close. I look for Analyst to continue moving in this direction as we get closer to the November-December timeframe for possible EMA approval. But a 4.5% increase in the first week is not bad to see. Next up, we have unveils. Again, on July 9th, I bought $250 worth of unveils, which worked out to about 130 shares at $192 apiece. At the time of recording, on the close of July 17th, unveils is currently trading at $2.34 per share, netting us a return of 21.5% or $54 over the last week. Unveils has been absolutely crushing it, even with a short interest that is constantly increasing. It is more than keeping itself afloat. I believe the share price of unveils is moving in response to the latest press release from unveils that I covered in the last episode, so if you haven't seen that video, I highly recommend that you go watch it. Unveils dropped a nuke of data in that press release, which showed that patients in their third line or earlier had a response rate of 61%, which is just incredible and super encouraging for unveils. I suspect that unveils will continue moving in this direction as they continue to make the right moves for their company. Just 3 days ago, the company announced Corleen Roche as the new CFO, which is going to be effective on August 6th. Roche joins unveils after having built an extensive track record throughout 30 years of experience in the biotech and life sciences industries, including executive financial leadership roles in publicly traded companies. Overall, I'm encouraged for the future of unveils, and I really love the moves that they're making currently. Last but not least, our newcomer, Candel. Before I go into detail about what I bought Candel for and all that stuff, let me tell you just a little bit about what Candel Therapeutics is. Candel Therapeutics is a biotechnology company based in Needham, Massachusetts. Candel utilizes genetically modified herpes simplex viruses, HSVs, and adenoviruses in its immunotherapy platforms to treat cancer. They use novel gene-based treatments designated to stimulate a patient's immune system to attack solid tumors. Their platform functions like in situ vaccination, offering both local tumor destruction and systemic immune activation against metastasis. Within Candel's developments, I am really intrigued by their CAN-2409 adenovirus platform. It is injected directly into the tumor. It converts oral drugs like valacyclovir into toxic metabolites that kill tumor cells and trigger T-cell activation. The company's phase 3 clinical trial met its primary and secondary endpoints and demonstrated statistically significant improvement in DFS with a 30% reduction in the risk for prostate cancer recurrence or death due to any cause in patients who received CAN-2409 compared to the placebo. This marked the first multi-center randomized phase 3 trial in over 20 years to meet both primary and secondary endpoints in localized prostate cancer, potentially redefining treatment for intermediate to high-risk patients with prostate cancer who seek curative therapy to avoid cancer-related anxiety, salvage treatments associated with toxicity, and disease progression. To put it into simpler terms, Candel has a great chance to be one of the most revolutionary companies concerning the treatment of patients that are suffering from prostate cancer. That's just a little background on why I bought into Candel and why I think it can be so successful. So now let's get into the numbers, starting with some napkin math. Candel has a $370 million market cap. If you take that figure and divide it by the $11 billion in estimated sales, you get $33.6 billion, which divided by the market cap again gives you 90.8, which means the stock has the potential to become a 91 bagger. If you take that 90.8 and you multiply it by the current share price of $6.92, you're looking at a possible share price of over $628. Again, just a long story short of my excitement over Candel. Anyways, at market opening on July 10th, I bought $250 worth of shares of Candel, which ended up being about 41 shares at $6.14 a piece. At the time of this recording, on the close of July 17th, Candel is currently trading at $6.92, which gives us a 12.8% return over the last week, or $32. Candel is going to keep trending in this direction as new data is released. I'm super excited about this one, and I get the sense that a lot of other investors are as well. So this is absolutely one to continue to keep an eye on. I'm super excited to continue this journey of trying to return 100% this year with you guys. Thank you all for watching until the end of this video. If you enjoy this content and you would like to see more of it, be sure to like and subscribe. But as always, this has been another episode of Thunderdome Investing.